Hello, and welcome to a very special episode of Behind the Shadows. I'm your host, Harvey, aka Guillermo de la Cruz, the show where we talk to the cast, crew, and special celebrity guests who are fans of what we do in the shadows. Today's special celebrity guest is the one, the only, Trixie Mattel from RuPaul's Drag Race, Trixie Mattel from several albums, and overall super wonderful international superstar drag queen. We asked Trixie what her favorite episode of What We Do in the Shadows is, and what her pitch for a future episode would be. Stay tuned for Behind the Shadows.
Breathing is so overwhelming, heartbeats are a hassle. Tell me, why would anyone want to be alive? Death might have a reputation before she arrives, but trust me, we have way more fun in the afterlife. We have way more fun in the afterlife.
And yes. Welcome to a very special episode of Behind the Shadows, where we talk to our favorite celebrity friends and fans of What We Do in the Shadows. Today's guest is the one and only Trixie. Might call you Trixie, or can I call you by your legal name?
Trixie's fine. I don't think anybody uses my legal name anymore.
Trixie Mattel. Do a lot of people know your legal name, or is it like people have just not even?
It's not even interesting. I mean, I'm mostly white, and so everybody white and gay is named like Justin, Matt, or Brian, I think. So, and Katya and I have the same name.
Oh my gosh, that's right.
So it's super annoying when we're like leaving Netflix or something, and there's two car services, and they both have a sign that says Brian, and we're like, okay.
You're like, okay. That's hilarious, actually.
Well, it's happened multiple times that we've got in the wrong car service, and then we end up at each other's house, and I call her like, it happened again.
Wait, and did you have to like get the car to take you back, or do you have to like Uber back?
Yeah, we have to get the car to like take us. Because I'm in Hollywood and she's in Hollywood, so it's like a 2-mile difference, but it's like, okay. It happened again.
You guys are like the original Haley Mills Parent Trap, or the Lindsay Lohan one, whichever you prefer.
But instead of being like cute redheads, we're like vascular sun-damaged bald men.
I think it's time for a revamp of the Parent Trap.
A very disturbing revamp of adult. We kind of look like Colin Robinson, honestly. We could be related.
Oh my gosh, you guys should play like Colin Robinson's lost like cousin. But you guys are, I think personally, you guys are way cooler than Colin Robinson. You guys are way more interesting. You're not boring.
I know. I told you when I was on tour, and I was just in Australia for 35 days, and I was not catching up on the premieres, but I just started watching right before the call started, and I saw the Colin Robinson toddler, and it was all, my whole life made sense again.
Well, this whole season has been pretty amazing. You've been a fan, so let me ask you. Let's start from the beginning. You're obviously a fan of What We Do in the Shadows, but did you watch the movie before,
fan.
Or? Yeah.
Huge. I mean, I really like I could be at Comic-Con in San Diego seeing you right now and crying. I mean, I'm so blown away. Nothing on TV gets me excited. Nothing gets me excited. I mean, I don't watch a lot of television. I kind of have to get tricked into watching something and then get hooked. You know, recently on my flight back from Australia, Katya made me watch the Watchmen series, and I got hooked. So I have to get forced into it. So I'm sitting with my partner, David, who does Trixie Mattel with me, and I'd seen the movie, What We Do in the Shadows, or I hadn't seen it. So David goes, let's watch this series, but I want you to see the movie first. So I watched the movie with him. And the series, season 1 had already been out in completion. And I'm not kidding, we watched it. Because when you're watching, I mean, it's a quick watch. Like, they're short episodes, so you move. When you can binge it, you can really move through them. We watched the whole first season and started it from the beginning and watched it again. That's how much we loved it.
Oh my gosh, really?
I was one of those people, I live in LA, so I see your bus stop billboards and stuff everywhere. And I just get like I get so excited when you guys are teasing a new season, because I watch them so many times. It's like, I'm the same with The Office, where I've seen every episode like 10 times. I just love your show.
Ah, well, we love you. And I mean, I've been a fan of yours for so long. And I remember the first time we officially met, it was, we were doing something for, I think it was for GLAD. And we were doing like a panel or something. You were there for a panel and we were in the green room. And I came over and I'm such a fan, been such a fan, you know, ever since your season on RuPaul's Drag Race. And you came up and said, me and my boyfriend love your show. And I was like, what? Like, I was
Oh,
like,
we
I didn't even,
love it.
it's like didn't register to me that you would even possibly watch a show. And like I was just like, oh my gosh, that's right, like the show's out now. And like this was season 1, like it was pretty new, like it was just out. And it's insane. It's but people have their favorites, you know. And I remember we were just talking back and forth about this. I think one time you were jogging like in the middle of the night, we were talking on the phone. I was in Toronto, you were somewhere in the country or out of the country, I think, and you were out for a run. I think you were in LA, and you ran from like I think it was where Akbar is, like in that area, all the way to like West Hollywood. Like you ran
Yeah, I'm a psycho. I just run. I'm one of those people that bases their whole personality on running. So I think I was running. I ran from Hollywood to East Hollywood back to Beverly Hills, and I remember I called you because I think I ran by one of your billboards, and I was just like, I know we don't know each other that well, but like, you should be so proud of yourself. I just feel like in this industry, you just hope you can be in something that makes an impact. And I mean, God, did you guys make it? I mean, your show started so strong from episode 1. It also could have easily been one of those shows that started with a lot of promise and kind of plateaued, but it just gets better and better.
It's just, I thank you for saying that.
You guys should hire me to do your PR. I could like go around and convince people to watch your show.
Yes, exactly. Well, our goal is that we're trying to, I mean, you're so busy. Like our goal was really to try to see if we can squeeze you in somehow or some way, but you're busy bee. I mean, talk about busy. You have multiple shows, you have albums, you have a makeup line, you have, I mean, also Trixie Mattel is out and you guys can all binge that right now. Tell us a little bit about that show.
Well, it's psychotic like your show, but in a different way because it's real. So basically my partner and I bought a motel in Palm Springs, and we always joked about opening a motel and calling it the Trixie Motel and decking it out 60s pink sort of Barbie resort. And during COVID, we were watching Very Brady Renovation, and I was like, we should do this. And then I was on Zillow looking at properties. I was just looking for a house, and I found a 7-room motel in the desert, and I said, let's just go look at it. You never know. And we basically, long story short, we bought it, closed on it, and then David, being a TV producer, was like, well, this is a perfect reality show. If you're going to renovate this, you should let me basically like build a reality show around it. So then David and I together produced basically a reality series. I mean, it is reality, but at times, because we're in drag, it feels like The Comeback or The Simple Life or My Life on the D List. I mean, renovating is stressful, and renovating a wig is really insane. So basically, it's all out now. It just finished our last episode last week. And on Discovery Plus, you can see me in full drag renovating a motel. It was really crazy.
I love it. I've already like started watching the first episode, and I'm hooked already. And you have a couple of friends. Nicole's on it. She comes and does an episode.
There's like 8 episodes, and I think we had 17 celebrity guests. I mean, we have a lot of guests. Because again, all my friends are in the industry, and I was like, well, we need labor, and let's trick my famous friends into doing free labor. You know, these are people who don't even do their own laundry anymore. I was like, the only person I couldn't trick into free labor was Lisa Vanderpump. She was like, I'm not doing that. She was like, I'll buy you something.
I'm not.
I said, okay.
You couldn't get Lisa Vanderpump to do free labor.
No, she's like, I'll take you shopping. I'm not doing anything like that. I said, okay.
Goodbye, Trixie.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, totally. She is so funny. I was out to dinner with her last night, and we were just hanging out, and I was asking her, I didn't know she used to own a boat, and I was asking her questions about what it's like to own a boat. Because I don't know, from Wisconsin, I don't know people own boats. And I'm like, so do you drive the boat? She's like, no, the staff does. I said, do they get off the boat? She's like, no, they live on the boat. I'm like, how big is the boat? And she was like, well, there's a staff of 6 people. I'm like, this is crazy. And then Lisa leans in and she goes, Trixie, you can always ask me questions and I'll tell you about rich people stuff. I was like, thank you for being so candid and just saying, thank you for saying exactly what I'm thinking, which is like, this is some real rich people shit that I'm embarrassed to ask about, but I just want to know.
I love that she gave you that freedom to like, just, you get so right. You can tell me, I'll tell you about rich people's stuff.
I know, she's so funny. She goes, Trixie, you can make fun of me in your act, And I said, do you think I don't already, bitch? Like, you are, people that rich, they just can't help but be a little bit funny. Like, I remember when she did Trixie Mattel, fun fact about Lisa, huge celebrity, very rich, fabulous. She insists on driving herself to set, and she insists on doing her own hair and makeup. She doesn't want any help. She doesn't have a personal assistant. And really, and she had to she drove out to Palm Springs in the Range Rover with Ken, and she goes, "Oh, I couldn't find the keys to the what does she drive, a Rolls Royce? I couldn't find the keys to the Rolls Royce, so I'm roughing it today." And she's in her Range Rover. That's her roughing it.
That's roughing it. That's going wild.
I know. I said, "Well, Lisa, my bike got
gosh.
stolen, so now I walk everywhere." So.
Oh, you poor thing. I can't relate.
I know. Well, during COVID, it's part of how I started running during COVID was because I was afraid of Ubers and I didn't have a bike, and I just started running everywhere. That's how I started running.
I couldn't believe that. During that conversation, we had a full on, we had a full kiki and like
we talked for like an hour
and everything. We talked for an hour, and when you started this conversation, you were like by Akbar, and then when you ended, you were in Beverly Hills, and I was like, wait, what? And I was like, what? It was perfect too, because it was like, yeah. And I don't know how you do it, because you're running and you're like perfectly doing sentences. I can't even run after a cab without running out of breath. And I'm like huffing and puffing when the guy asked me where to. And I'm like, it's just 1 second. And
no, I doubt it. You're a vampire hunter now, baby.
We have way more fun in the afterlife.
This podcast is sponsored by BetterHelp. Throughout my personal journey and professional career, life has had its fair share of tricks and treats. I wouldn't be where I am today if I didn't have access to therapy to help me through those tricky experiences. BetterHelp has made therapy accessible. BetterHelp Online Therapy will assess your needs and can match you with your own licensed professional therapist in less than 48 hours. If you ever considered therapy but thought getting started was too complicated or expensive, I assure you it's worth it. And BetterHelp takes all the stress away. You can schedule weekly video or phone sessions so you don't have to be on camera if you don't want to. And getting therapy every week as easy as a few clicks on your laptop or phone. So many people have been using BetterHelp that they're recruiting additional therapies in all 50 states. And they have a special offer for my listeners. Get 10% off your first month at betterhelp.com/shadowspodcast. That's 10% off your first month of online therapy at betterhelp.com/shadowspodcast. Now back to the show.
You asked me to pick one episode, and I thought of all the ones that I really nut for. Like the one where you go to that vampire house and kill all those vampires is amazing. The one where Nandor goes to the conversion therapy with all the aerobics.
Oh, yeah?
Is amazing.
Season 3.
But I had to pick the Superb Owl one. I think it's so fucking funny.
Yeah, let's dive into it. The Superb Owl is one of my favorites. I feel like this episode, there's a lot going on. It's such a great storytelling in 22 minutes that's it's hard to do when you, like you said, the episodes are so short, but this episode really packs it. Why don't you tell me what about the episode really kind of just made it be top notch, one of your favorites?
Okay, this is, I think, the best moments in this show, right? The best moments is when it's fish out of water, right? When you see them in a nightclub for the first time a couple seasons ago, or you see them doing normal things like creepy paper, that's when it's really funny. When you realize, oh wow, they're funny in their house surrounded by vampires, but they're really funny at the grocery store, Or when the episode where they keep going back to the gym to hit on that girl, them in normal environments is always funny. The same way Guillermo in a vampire environment is funny, right? It's just doesn't belong. And so something about this episode, going next door to the neighbors, and then I believe the who plays the male neighbor? Yes.
Sean. The character of Sean.
Is it the Tim and Eric guy?
He used to play.
I forget.
He used to do the impersonation of. He had his own show, and he used to impersonate the last president, not our previous president, but the last president.
Yes. Okay. He's amazing, and then you have Marissa Jarrett Whittaker, which when she comes around the corner in that big permed jersey, you're like, holy shit! This episode's gonna be crazy.
Yeah.
And I mean,
you got Anthony and Marissa are great.
Girl, so good. And my other favorite part of this episode, obviously there's some great connective tissue with Guillermo accidentally finding the vampire hunting people, which is so funny. One of my favorite things about that whole season is Guillermo like denying, even though these signs are like flashing neon signs that like you're a vampire hunter. That scene where he's like, well, maybe I'm a girl, so like maybe my ancestors were great bakers. And it's like, girl, it is what it is. But I love whoever thought of Nadia and that old woman who they said kind of has senility when the sun goes down. And she's like, I know you. And she's like, what? And then it cuts to the interview of her saying like, oh no, everything she's saying is absolutely true. That is so fucking funny to me.
She babysat her in like the 40s or something.
Yes.
She was her babysitter. Yes. And no one believes her because she's old, and it was just like, that's such good writing, and it's just it blows my mind. I love that part in the van where Guillermo has to call the vampires and tell them that they have to get out of the house. Do you remember that? But he has to whisper it, and so it sounds like they're still dealing with the whole idea. It's insane. Finding that vampire house with the mosquito collectors of the tri-state area is one of my favorite episodes, just because you get to meet Craig Robinson's character and all the rest of the gang, and there's a lot happening. But going back to Marissa and Anthony as Sean and the neighbors, married couple, they're so iconic in a way, because don't you feel like you know somebody? We all know somebody like that. Don't you feel like you know somebody like that?
I mean, I'm not from Jersey, but like when she comes around the corner, and I believe she's in like truly like stirrup pants and like animal print, and she's like, "I need you to go to the store and get more Tostitos before you have too many drinks." That's so fierce. And I mean, I believe the episode's called Brain Scramblies because the real craziness is they decide to wipe his. They think Nandor and Laszlo think that Sean knows he's a vampire. He doesn't know, so then they wipe his brain for no reason.
Yeah.
Because they show him they can fly, even though he clearly didn't know. Also, I would love to shake all the writers' hands. Whoever was like, what if Sean's a collector of Ocean's 12 memorabilia? That is so crazy.
I think Stephanie Robinson, our EP and our writer for the show, I think she was talking about that in the writer's room, that they were bouncing off this idea, and then it became such a joke that they were like, yeah, why wouldn't he collect Ocean's 12 memorabilia of just like, it's insane, and it works so perfectly. And also we meet Sean's other buddies who are there for the party as well, and they get brain scramblies. And then we see Colin Robinson trying to adjust the auxiliary cord to connect something that completely drains their energy. It's just the formula for like the perfect Super Bowl party or Superb Owl.
Yeah, I mean, I recognize the characters of the neighbors, but maybe it's because Colin Robinson, maybe it's because I'm from Wisconsin, and I believe, what's that actor's real name?
Mark. I think Mark is from Wisconsin.
He's got to be from Wisconsin because that accent is so. He's probably from Green Bay or something. His accent is so exact that whenever he's on screen, it feels like it's someone from my real life on television, like from the school, like where I grew up on television. And then he's like, better to not watch the game at all than watch it in the wrong format. Am I right? Also, the fact that these vampires come over because they believe that they are going to meet a mythical owl. It's just so stupid. I mean, somebody had to sit down in a room and pitch that, and everyone had to go, yes, that's a great idea.
Yeah, that sounds good to me. Yeah, absolutely.
And that's what I like about the series as it goes, is you guys get stupider and stupider because the trust, like, in the process is obviously just stronger, and you guys get given more money and like more trust to be weirder,
Yeah, and I feel like the freedom that comes with after like getting your, when you get to like the groove of things, like when you start something in a musical or a school production or a movie or a show, and you get into the groove of it, and you're like, oh, this is the character, this is the world we live in. And then it's just icing on the cake. You're like, okay, now we're just playing, like we're just having fun. And I feel like we really kind of found our groove after like the first episode, which was really fortunate for us because everyone just kind of fell into their character so well. I always say this cast is the best cast I've ever worked with because everyone's cast perfectly. I can't imagine anyone else playing those roles. I mean, can you imagine anyone else playing these characters?
No, I mean, like, you can think of other directions. Like, I think Nadia could have been like Madeline Kahn or something equally like campy like that. Because you guys are kind of doing Clue sometimes,
Yeah.
because everybody's so
Yeah.
ridiculous. But you're right. I mean, it really feels like the people cast like made these characters up themselves in a way, and that's what makes them feel so fun.
I feel like that's what it is. They're characters that are so farcical, they're so bigger than life, but they live in a grounded setting that you believe it. I mean, when you see a Baron vomiting profusely through the sky after eating pizza pie for the first time, you believe this deflating balloon of a Baron could be real. You could actually
The
watch
other
this and
episode
be
I
like,
almost
yeah,
said was the Baron like party episode because
Baron's night out.
it's just unbelievable. And I mean, I've seen some bad effects on television in my day. The fact that you guys have these like A-list like Blade level vampire effects on like a a 22-minute comedy show is just unbelievable. That episode is so funny. The scene where he's seated at the bar with like drinking like a baseball cap on is so fucking funny.
Oh my gosh, I remember that. You know who plays the Baron, right?
I believe you told me it was like the Shape of Water guy, right?
It's Doug Jones, so he's been in everything. If you've seen The Shape of Water, he was Billy Butcher in Hocus Pocus. He was in everything you've ever seen that was like, whoa! Like remember this character with the eyeballs in Guillermo del Toro film where he has the eyeballs right here?
Oh,
The
yes, yes,
eyeballs.
yes.
That's him, and he's also in Star Trek right now, the new series, and he is the nicest, kindest person. I don't know if you ever watched or seen reruns of like old commercials, like for McDonald's or something. Sometimes you can see like they'll like a part of a package deal on YouTube or something. But if you look for Mac the Knife, I think it's called, and it's a crescent moon that plays the piano for McDonald's in the 80s, I think it was. That's him. That was his first gig. That was his first job.
Why does he get these gigs? Is he just like a really good physical actor, like, or something?
He's really good. He's just he's super tall and super thin, and he just has control of his body so perfectly that it's like he emotes acting. Even if you cover his face into prosthetics, he emotes the emotion of the character and acting without having to see his face, which is hard to do sometimes. You know, sometimes it's you put on someone under prosthetics and stuff, and they lose all their ability. They just like can't emote the scene. And
Oh, that
he
makes a
can
lot
do
of
it.
sense.
Yeah, so when you look at The Shape of Water, even like the movement of the hand with like, underwater and like the passionate scene, that's like, it could have easily just gone like, blah, blah, but he's so good at it after
Do you think he ever
all
did
these
Buffy?
decades. I think he did do Buffy.
I
think
bet he did.
He was in Batman Returns. He was one of the clowns. Remember Batman Returns who like comes up to Batman and like, do, 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 and then like gets shot, and it's like, that's him.
What a fierce career to get to be like completely different. Like, not just characters, but like things your whole career. That's so cool.
That is cool.
I just like the same fucking person every day.
Well, you know what? Speaking of Trixie and that being such an iconic drag queen that will go down in history, what would you think these characters' drag names would be? Like, if you give each one of these characters a drag name, what would it be?
Well, I thought about this a lot. And who knows, now that the characters own a nightclub, you never know. Drag queens show up in nightclubs. I thought of 4. I thought of Nandor the Genderless. I mean, it's kind of, okay. This is kind of bad. And listen, they're not good. All right. Nacho cheese. Like nacho cheese.
Nacho cheese?
It's not great. Okay. Colleen Robertson. Colleen Robinson.
Colleen Robertson? I like that.
Colleen Robinson.
But would Colin Robinson wear a wig, or would it always be like no wig, just a hat, like angina? Like it would be like.
Oh, I think it would be like Mr. Garrison. It'd be like Mr. Garrison when it's Miss Garrison in South Park, like the same character but with like earrings and lipstick.
Ah, okay.
And then this is maybe good, Lindsay Laslohan.
Yeah, I like that.
That one's a little better.
Out of all these queens, if there were. What about Guillermo? What do you think Guillermo would be?
Oh, shit. God, I mean...
I feel like he would lean more into like the musical theater element.
Minnie Van Helsing? Like Minivan?
Oh, that's cute. I like that. Yeah, Minnie Van Helsing. Oh,
I did know a drag queen called Minnie Van Driver, so that's kind of
it's
built
funny.
off that.
Okay, so Minnie Van Helsing, and their shtick is like 20s vaudeville, like they do like vaudeville opening acts. They love Candor and Ebb, and they do Chicago.
But not
Sweet
well.
Honey Rag, but not well. Probably not well.
Not well.
If we were to lip sync for your life, let's do Laszlo and Naja against each other. Who do you think would win?
I mean, Naja's kind of in drag already. I mean, I really feel for her. Like that actress is in drag.
Natasha's in
Corsets
drag.
and wigs and lashes
and petticoats and boots
and like a lot of makeup. Yeah. I wonder who thought of putting her really in like fantasy, like beauty makeup, because it's really cool.
I think it evolved. I think from the pilot, they were all kind of pasty white and dead. And then after the pilot, I think they brought a little bit of more color, especially with Naja. I think she has like a nice pop of red lipstick. She has really cool eyeshadow. I just saw like the promos for this season. She looks beautiful, with the little streak of red in her wig and her hair.
We have way more fun in the afterlife.
If you haven't heard already, it's Smooth Sack Summer. That's right, this is the summer to keep your balls cool while still looking hot with Manscaped. The leader in below-the-belt grooming is making sure we all have a ball this summer by giving our pants partners everything they need to stay fresh. Dive headfirst into Smooth Sack Summer by going to manscaped.com for 20% off plus free shipping with our code SHADOWS. The Manscaped Performance Package 4.0 has everything you need to prepare that summer body. Inside this package, you'll find their Lawnmower 4.0 trimmer, Weed Whacker ear and nose hair trimmer, Crop Preserver ball deodorant, Crop Revival toner, Performance boxer briefs, and a travel bag to hold your goodies. Did I mention this trimmer is waterproof too? Beach, lake, or shower, this razor will devour even the strongest eternal pubes. Get 20% off plus free shipping with code SHADOWS, manscaped.com. That's 20% plus free shipping with code SHADOWS at manscaped.com. It's Smooth Sack Summer, boys. Get on board or get left behind.
Whoever does your promos, whoever shoots your promos, just like the billboard work is just unbelievable. Like iconic.
It's beautiful.
Iconic.
Yeah. That's the FX team, and shout out to the FX team for their posters are really awesome for all the FX shows. You look at the posters like for American Horror Story or Mayans.
That's a good point.
Yeah, their aesthetic because it's the same group of people who put it all together, and they do great work. I mean, they really, really do. Like it's the aesthetic for each show. It's just after a while, like now the color palette when you see those purples, teals, and pinks together, that you could just always be like, that looks like a Shadows poster. You know what I mean? Like the aesthetic of it has become kind of the brand recognition, I feel, for.
Oh yeah, the one with the fake teeth, the plastic vampire teeth is so fucking sickening.
Oh, that one's season 1. I feel like season 1, it was so smart because, you have these actors and you have like people who, they are known like Matt Berry, but they also have people who maybe not everyone knows. And so we put us all together and they just got our mouths and they put our mouths all together and they're all vampires except for Guillermo, who has the green false teeth. And it was so smart. It was so simple and clever, but to the point. People always say that that's one of their favorites. It was like, that's what introduced them to the show. It was like, what is that? And then it
100%.
Yeah.
That billboard was so impactful. Even if you didn't know what the show was for, you would recognize that billboard.
Yeah. And then season 2, we have the poster with Guillermo and the first time we see him with the wooden stake in the center of the vampires protecting them. But it's also the illusion because the poster made it look like, is he attacking them because he's behind them with the stake? And
that's a good point.
Yeah.
But what did you feel like? Was this your first billboard experience? What did you feel like seeing it when you got one of the billboards yourself?
I mean, it's crazy. Like it never gets old. Like, I mean, we're doing season 4. We just wrapped season 4 and it never gets old. Like it's just like driving down on Sunset Boulevard and seeing your picture in a billboard. Like it just like, I mean, this is like the things that as a kid I was like, wow, like you've made it if your face is on a bus stop.
It was real. Yesterday I just got a new house and I was going over there to meet the new gardener and I was in an Uber and the Uber was talkative and we were driving. There's a Trixie billboard for Discovery Plus over on Sunset, and we were driving and the Uber driver goes, so what do you do? And it was so cunty, and I wouldn't tell anybody this except I'm telling you
no
now. No, I'm driving and he goes, so what do you do? And he asked it right as we were passing the billboard. And I said, that. And I pointed. And it was like, I think I wanted to feel like I was like Julia Roberts or something. Which, by
Big
the way, told
mistake.
him nothing.
Big mistake.
Like, what do you do? That. He could have been like, you hang billboards? Like, it's a person in drag. It's not even me.
Yeah.
So, like, how would he even know that was me? I just wanted to feel the fantasy. Just, you know.
That's kind of a move. And actually, it's so funny. I wish that Cap had like a camera videotaping you. That would have been funny.
I always, whenever I see a friend on a billboard, when I see my own billboards, I don't necessarily take a picture. Whenever I see someone I know, I always take a picture and send it to them.
Me too.
Always. Nicole Byer had that fierce one on Sunset when Nailed It. It was like an ugly cake, and her like.
Yeah. I was just talking to her.
I need a picture of this.
Like 2 nights ago, we were talking about this because her and I just wrapped a movie together, and she's so fucking funny. And she just like was talking about how friends would send pictures, and it's like, for your consideration for FYC, for in LA you have billboards for your consideration all the time, and like it was just her, and it was like effortless, charming, and like all these positive affirmations, and then she's just like in the picture, and it was just like people were like, your face is on a billboard, and it was like, it gets wild. Like I don't know, but does it get old? Like, how do you feel like after,
No, it's
you've been on
magical every
several
time.
billboards? It's magical every time.
I was just in New York, and there was a Trixie Mattel billboard in Times Square and a Trixie YouTube music billboard at the same time in Times Square. So 2 different signs at the same time. And I was like, this is fucking crazy. Maybe
Insane.
It's gay people things where you have imposter syndrome. But I also think that if you are on a billboard like that and if you don't find it surreal, you're like psychotic and ungrateful. If you're like, if you walk by a billboard of yourself and you're like, makes sense, I'm like, you're crazy. You know?
Yeah, sounds about right.
Right. And like, maybe if you're like very beautiful or like a model or something and you're like, well, I'm photographed all the time. But maybe it's because we're comedy people. And for comedy, it's like, well, but you don't expect that.
It's rare. It's hard to see that. Yeah, you don't expect it. That's what it is. You don't expect it. And yeah, you're right. The other night I was driving with my sister, and we were on the corner of like La Brea and 3rd, and to my right there was a picture of the new Harley Quinn, which I get to play Nightwing, which I'm really excited about for the show. And there was a poster of that. And then to the left, on a big billboard, was Shadows, but they were right next to each other. And I was just like, this blew my mind. And then so we drove by. I didn't think anything about it. And then we went back, and I was like, that's really cool, right? It's like, yeah. It's like, and she was like, yeah, we'll go back. And we went back, and I was like, I want to videotape it. That's so cool. It's like, because I don't take it for granted. And it's like,
hello, it probably,
cool.
I mean, no offense, it could just never happen again. So remember, take advantage of it.
Exactly. What are the odds that it'll happen? Like,
sometimes I think false modesty is so exhausting. It's like, you're allowed to be excited for something cool that's happened to you. Like when someone says this is amazing, you don't have to be like, oh, are you sure? You can be like, yeah, it is. Isn't it amazing? Like, it's amazing. Cool. Your dream came true. Feel good. Feel good about it.
And celebrate it. And so I did feel good. And doing Shadows has been such a great experience. And we just got picked up for season 5 and 6. So
girl,
so we'll be definitely, what we're gonna do? We should just take the whole cast. And we're gonna celebrate and go down to Trixie Motel and just have like a fucking viewing party down there or something. That's what we're gonna do.
It's 7 rooms. If you want to come with a group, I mean, you let us know. We'll cut you at the fiercest rate. We're such super fans.
We should do it. That'd be fun. But going forward with the show, what would you, because we were talking about this last time, and you have really, people may not know this, but you have tons and tons of great ideas. Of course they do. I always amazed of how many things you do at the same time. It's just like, you manage time so well, you're so creative, and you're still like just the most like down to earth like person that could be rocking this business. So I applaud you for that, because not a lot of people stay that way, and they can change. And you don't. You stay the same lovely person. And you have great ideas. What would be one of your ideas for a future episode that right now, if this is a pitch room, like we're pitching, like I want to hear your pitch for an episode.
Well, you guys, I mean, these characters, I like that vampires sort of live outside of sexuality a little bit. Like they can kill people. They're all like not even gay. They're all just like, I do whatever. You know what I mean? There's a great moment in this episode. Like with sexuality, they're so balls to the wall. Like there's the part in this episode we were talking about where Nadia flashes Sean her pussy and goes like, "Sorry, Laszlo, it's his last night." Laszlo goes, "I don't care." I mean, they haven't had an episode where they go. I want them to go to a gay bar or like end up at a pride or something like that. Like,
Yes.
and maybe they don't realize right away, or like I could see. Maybe this has already happened. I could see like them not like they think Nadia's a drag queen or like they're all like, "I've never been here," and then like Laszlo knows everyone.
That's funny. Like he's all like, "Oh, what
And
are
I-
we doing here? Hey, Laszlo, what's up?"
And I personally like when they just go to normal places. I want to see them. I know it's nighttime all the time when they have to be outside, but like I like when they are somewhere really normal and boring. It always produces something so funny.
Yeah.
Like I don't know what that is, but whenever they're at like a library or some like a grocery store or shit like that, it always something crazy happens.
It's as simple as like the surrounding and the setting doesn't have to be extravagant. It's just being in the simplicity that makes it hilarious. Like it's just being in an animal shelter or at the casino. We're at the casino.
Oh, yes.
The casino is just like Naja turns out to be part of the Rat Pack, and like that we find pictures of her being, friends with like Frank Sinatra and the whole gang, and it's just like stuff like that where I love when we do shit like that where it's like, oh my gosh, please somehow let them be on the Titanic. Like they were on the Titanic and we have the reference that they might have been in the Titanic,
Yes.
Like it's just stuff like that where, we don't have playback of footage because we don't have flashbacks in the show. We never do flashbacks. What we do is we have evidence. So the documentary crew always shows footage or pictures of the past. So like if there is a picture or a painting when they're telling a story, they refer to it. But we don't have flashbacks. Like a lot of shows have flashbacks, and they're like, "Oh, remember that one time?" Cutaway. We don't have cutaways like that.
I like, maybe it's because I just watch Watchmen, but I'd love to see that, like, find out what one of them was at Studio 54, or like, I like when maybe they were at things that there was no way that a real person could be alive that long, like when they accidentally have witnessed historical events. Or I like kind of like Forrest Gump. I want us to find out things that they influence without knowing it. You know what I mean? Like elections or like,
Right.
Like the movie, what's that movie, Dick, where they like, it's like it's with Kirsten Dunst and it's like about two teenage girls and it's like a historical fiction about the Watergate.
And Michelle Williams.
Yes. Michelle Williams.
Yeah.
And it's like these two girls accidentally are wrapped up in the Watergate thing. It's like, I love shit like that.
Yeah.
And because you're vampires, you can be alive as long as,
What is that movie called? I Like Ike. I Like Mike. Ike.
Isn't it called
Something
Dick?
like that?
Isn't it called I Like Dick or something?
I like.
We have way more fun in the afterlife.
Sling TV has something for everyone. All of your favorite shows on your favorite channels. All right at your fingertips. What you watch is totally up to you. It really just depends on what kind of mood you're in. So if you're looking for sports, Sling's got you covered with pro and college football and basketball, baseball, hockey, soccer, golf, racing, and so much more. Sling also has reality TV. I love reality TV. So you can keep up with the latest gossip on today's hottest shows on channels like TLC, Bravo, MTV, and more. And don't forget about news. Get up to date with today's most trusted sources like MSNBC, CNN, and Fox News. Feeling adventurous? Explore thousands of movies and shows, shadows, hello, on demand. So what kind of mood are you in? No matter your answer, Sling has what you need. Getting Sling is easy. Sign up and start watching in just 5 minutes. You can stream on any device and record up to 50 hours with included DVR space. And the best part is you can pause or customize your subscription at any time. Check out sling.com for special offers. Sling, the TV you love for a price you'll love. Try it today.
Okay, so your pitch for the show would be, we should go to a gay club for sure. And I think that for some reason, Trixie should be there. And Trixie is friends with Laszlo or something. You'll DJ.
Yeah. Or like, wouldn't
that.
it make sense that like Nadia like knows all the drag queens or something?
Yeah. Or they all get inspiration from her looks or something. Like they're like, thanks for the eyelid, girl. Or like, it's just like, she's been doing it for so long.
I would love to find out that like Nadia was like, she was a pop diva in the 80s and like disappeared. And then these fags recognize her face. They're like, aren't you, you know?
But she's from Naja Antipaxos, so she'd be like a Greek pop princess.
Totally.
So maybe, yeah, but she would be living in Staten Island, I think, in the 80s, but she maybe travels back and forth. I like that she's probably like, big overseas. Who was it that was big in Japan? Alyssa Milano, while she was doing her show, but she had like a pop like singing career in Japan, but in America, no one knew that she was singing, I guess.
It's
That's what I
so
remember
random.
Yeah.
Michelle Branch was on. Michelle Branch and I did a song on my new record, and she was telling me, she was like, you know, when my first hits came out, like Everywhere and All You Wanted, all my hits, you know, from my first record, she was like, everybody thinks I traveled like all over the world, but she's like, I mostly did promotional gigs in America and Japan. She's like, I was so big in Japan.
Yeah.
So crazy.
I remember I lived in Japan for a little bit, and I would see the advertisements there for like, you know, Brad Pitt was doing like Kirin or something, or beer or something, like a beer, but that would never translate. Like that would never be the campaign in America. Like he wouldn't do that beer campaign in America. It was only in Japan. So it was so funny to see who was like, oh my gosh, you're big here. Like you're big here. You're big here. And then when you get back to America, that same promo was not running. So I always thought that's so funny. Like David Hasselhoff, he's big in Germany. David Hasselhoff is really big in Germany.
Oh yeah, that is true. You know, have you ever seen that Gaga commercial of her doing that? That's like a Singapore commercial.
No.
Have you ever seen that? Oh my god. It's like a green screen, low budget commercial of Gaga from like her Just Dance days. And it's like Singapore or Hong Kong or something. And she's like, there's so much to do. Shopping, clubbing, nightlife, hanging out. It's like really scripted, like teleprompter, bad acting commercial she's in. I can't believe I'm gonna find it.
You gotta find it. Wait, so she did the commercial as an endorsement while she was Lady Gaga, or was like an acting gig that she did before taking on the name Lady Gaga?
Okay, watch this.
Hi, I'm Lady Gaga, and welcome to
Oh my
my
gosh.
world. Coming to you from the first ever location of F1 Rocks, Derry. I looked for all the important stuff, like shopping, clubbing, nightlife, food, hanging out.
Food, hanging out. If anybody hasn't seen that, I'll send you
I
that. I'll text you
that.
the audio.
Oh my god, please send it to me, because that looked
Shopping, clubbing, hanging out.
Hanging out. Oh my gosh. That's
So listen,
that's really good.
I bet you it
actually.
pays good. I guess, I mean, I bet you a toothpaste commercial in Japan is probably sickening.
Look,
that's why like A-list people do it.
I say always do what, if you can do the endorsement and do an ad. I mean, everyone is looking for a campaign out that they can actually put #ad, because it is a paying gig. You're getting paid to use your platform to advertise something. So if you can make that coin, then just do it. As long as you're not hurting anybody, you just do it, Just
I never feel bad
just
about that.
dance. No, it's like you work so hard. People forget that, like, because you see, the success of like someone who, yes, you got Trixie Mattel, you got your albums and whatnot, but you don't see like the years of like the struggle of like trying to like get into the industry, trying to break in. Like no one sees those days, so they see the final product and it's like, oh, they're fine. They shouldn't be doing that. It's like, no, you don't know that it's like a business, and it's like, it took a lot of work to get here, and being smart about it,
Even paying for TV, it's like, I mean, like, for example, me and Katya show, we're in season 7 now, and the WoW Presents Plus app is $4 a month, and sometimes fans will be like, I hate that it's paid. I'm like, there's 4 episodes a month. It's $4 a month. That's $1 an episode, and there's 2 of us.
$1.
That's 50 cents each.
50 cents.
And we don't even get that. We get a fraction of that.
A fraction of that. You get like a penny.
You
out
go
of
to
those
a drag
50
show and
cents.
you tip the drag queens, but you're telling me you won't give me 50 cents to watch 10 minutes of content? Like, it's really crazy. I mean, people just
That makes no
support
sense.
things. People should
That makes
support
no
things.
sense. Please support things, you guys. I love that. I think people should support everything you do. I love that you support us. What we do in the shadows is such a great.
I won't shut
show
up
that
about you guys. I
love
follow
it.
I don't know if you ever notice how often I interact with the Twitter account.
Oh my gosh!
I think that we're friends.
I think you guys are friends. But you know what's so funny? Everyone would watch, with like you and Katya and would send me clips all the time, and people didn't know that we're friends, so they were like, "Do you know that they're talking about you?" And I was like, "Oh," I was like, "Okay," I was like, and they would send me clips, and I was like, "Yeah," I was like, "I know I know Trixie. And it's like, yeah, but they're talking about the show. And it's like, and they would get so excited, like the fans that would watch the show would get so excited to let me know that you guys were talking about the show, that eventually I was just like, I'm going to do the show, right? Like, I'm just going to come, like, and I did an episode with you guys, and you guys really knew your shit. Like, you really do know the show.
We have no chill. We're obsessed with it. You know what other episode I almost picked too? I love the episode with Haley Joel Osment and the Necromancer.
Oh yeah, that was season.
The premiere.
Came back season 2. The season premiere, season 2. Yeah,
that episode. He is so funny, and I think his name is Topher.
Topher, yeah, and he's trying to open a cider, non-alcoholic cider.
Oh my god, yes, he's trying to get a hard cider.
Dos apples.
Dos apples. And the Necromancer, the makeup and the lighting in that scene, it was so fierce.
Oh, and his like jingle and his song, and he's like scatting. He's like, adu, acha, adu, pata, padu, and we're like, is he just?
Oh yes, on the fact that it seems like Guillermo's the only one who's noticing the obvious that he's a zombie.
Yeah,
and the vampires are like, no, he's not.
And his arm's falling off.
Yeah, there's so many good ones. The other one I also really love is the one with the cursed witch hat.
Oh yes, I
believe that's the Nick Kroll episode.
Nick Kroll, yeah, he steals it, and he could feel the suction from the witch's asshole in the back of his head.
Yeah. Yes! Yes! I love Nick Kroll. Weirdly, I hope this isn't a weirdly sexy Nick Kroll.
Nick Kroll's sexy, yeah.
I presented with him at the MTV Movie Awards, and I was like, oh, you're very sexy in person. Okay.
And he's so nice and charming that it's also like an added bonus. I just did his spin-off of Big Mouth, HR, and working with him, and he's so just like wonderful. See, that's you guys would probably obviously get along too. I find that the people who work really hard, who are really talented and are nice, tend to like blend with that kind of same people.
Yeah, he's really
always
really
the
funny.
most time. Yeah, he is. For the show this season, we have Naja's Nightclub, and we've been asking everyone who's been a guest in the show if you could pick an alcoholic drink for Trixie Mattel. What would that alcoholic drink be called, and what would it consist of?
Well, if we're doing a shameless plug, I would of course have a Serve Pink Lemonade Trixie Mattel flavored vodka, or
there you go.
I mean, my usual drink is a gin and tonic. And they make pink gin in different parts of the world, and I love pink gin. Yes, in Ireland they make a pink gin I think it's distilled with more flowers and berries, so it turns a little pink. And I felt, first time I went to Ireland, I came home with a big jug of pink gin, and I just like loved it. It felt so fancy and rich to drink pink gin.
I have never had pink gin, and I'm actually just got onto the gin wagon this last year, and I'm really into cocktails with gin, so I got to give that a go. Is it only in Ireland, or do you think it could probably get it anywhere?
No, I think you can get it anywhere. I love gin. Some people are like, no, it tastes like pine needles. It's great. It's fresh. It's light. It keeps your breath fresh at the club because it's kind of minty. I love gin.
I love gin. Here, you heard it here first. We love gin. Oh gosh. Well, it's been so lovely talking to you. Thank you so much. I know you're a busy guy, a busy gal, Trixie, and I want to thank you so much for loving the show and for supporting us. And I want to hear you say anything you want to tell other fans who love the show as much as you do. Anything you want to give to the fans? Shout out.
If you just love this show and you watch it and you feel like nobody loves this as much as I do, I really do. And I just think it's important in this industry that people see a show like your show take really big swings and make really strong choices and be really weird and get rewarded for it. Like, that doesn't often happen. You know, the weirdest, dumbest, most played out shows get 20 seasons. And then really unique special shows sometimes don't get the traction they need to continue. And like, it's just really assuring, and it just feels like good things happening to good people watching your show. It really does.
Oh.
And I guess to the fans of the show, I think we all probably feel that way. We all feel like we have this little magical secret show we love. But if you go anywhere and bring it up, there's tons of people who watch it. It just feels personal when you watch it. It feels like you found this secret show, but everybody's seen it. So I guess it's just the magic of it.
Oh, that's a beautiful way to exit out of this, because that was lovely.
Are you Beyonce at Comic-Con?
I'm Beyonce at Comic-Con.
Is it your drag con?
Yes. This is well, we start today We're starting panels tomorrow and Sunday. We have a big panel in Hall H. By the time this comes out, people have already seen it. But yeah, I'm really excited. We're at Hall H, which is the big one. It's like the Star Wars one. It's like the Star Wars, big cedar auditorium. So it's really exciting. We went from like the small one 3 years ago, and now we're at Hall H, which is the biggest one they have at Comic-Con.
Well, I've never seen Star Wars, but I've seen every episode of your series about 10 times. So what does that tell you?
Yay! What does that tell you?
Well, have fun at the con. Make sure you drink water. I didn't do DragCon this year, and honestly, I thought I was going to have FOMO, and it was fabulous not doing DragCon.
Really? I haven't been to DragCon
stressful.
in so many
DragCon
years
is
now.
so stressful.
It's a lot. It's a lot. And I can only imagine because now the queens have like stepped it up. Like now it's like you have a booth and you have a photo shoot with them and they have their costume. Like it's become like a walking like show. Like it's like your own little booth has become your own spectacular display. And I haven't been to a drag con in a couple of years because every time it's in the summer, and usually summers I'm out of the country or I'm filming out of the state. And so this was the year that I was hoping to come back for DragCon, and as luck would have it, I wasn't in town.
It'll happen next year.
It'll happen next year. I'll come if you're there. I'll have to come and see you there.
I hope I get to see you again. Let's not wait till another gay like nonprofit thing happens for us to get together.
No, I'm gonna go check out your new place. We'll have a Shadows night.
Work, bitch. I love you so much.
I love you so much, and I will see you next time.
Behind the Shadows is a production of Straw Hut Media, hosted by Harvey Guillermo, produced by Ryan Tillotson, Amada Sanchez, and Tyler Nielsen. Original music by Trevor Bumgar and Chris Hendricks, vocals by Maggie Glass. If you don't already, subscribe wherever you're listening, and make sure to follow Behind the Shadows podcast on Instagram for more behind-the-scenes content. And tune in live every Thursday at 1 p.m. Pacific on the What We Do in the Shadows subreddit for an AMA with Harvey and special guests.
Breathing is so overwhelming, heartbeats are a hassle. Tell me, why would anyone want to be alive? Death might have a reputation before she arrives, but trust me, we have way more fun in the afterlife. We have way more fun in the afterlife.
See you next week.